What's going on, guys? Nathan Lombardo here with Lambo Media, joined by special guest Erik Ostberg. He's in the Tampa Bay Rays organization. Thank you for joining, Erik. How you doing?
I'm doing real well. Not really quarantining, just doing my work, getting my work in.
Yep. So first and foremost, you played NCAA baseball at Hartford, and now you obviously play pro baseball.
Yeah.
What has been the biggest difference between the two?
All right. Well, I'd say the biggest jump that I had was the high school to college was the biggest transition for a lot of reasons when it comes to approach, when it comes to working through at bats, hitting mistakes. But when I got to pro baseball, it's just the average. You're facing everybody's Friday guy. You're facing the best Friday guys in the country, basically. So there's no easy at bats. Even in college and Division I baseball, you could, some of those back end bullpens could get weak at times. And you had some more gimme at bats. But in pro baseball, there's no easy at bat. So the ability to stick to your plan and to execute your plan becomes that much more important. And then,
Right.
As well as with the expanse of games, right? Like you play 56 games in college, maybe a playoff, and then you got summer ball, that'll be another 56. So you're just over 100 games. But in pro ball, you got spring training every day, regular season, 150 games right there. So you talk about 180 games, plus. So
Yeah.
the logging of at bats and the ability to make adjustments before the pitcher can is huge. So that's what I would say. On the defensive side, there's a lot of things mechanically that I've worked on and changed since I got to pro ball, getting on one knee, moving the baseball differently than I was taught when I was in college or even younger. So, it's the offensive part of it is a big separator.
Right. And to move on from that, a little bit on the defensive side of the baseball, who's the hardest pitcher you've caught this far?
Hardest as far as velocity goes?
Yeah.
Well, honestly, man, a lot of our minor league guys, they're in the hundreds. It's not uncommon to have Dominican guys coming over throwing 98 to 100. Velocity is more easily taught now. So it's more guys struggle with learning how to pitch, learning how to use their secondary stuff. I think that, we probably have an organization. We're stacked on pitching. We probably got 12 guys that can touch 100, I'd say. So that's what I would estimate off the top of my head. So, but I love, I've caught Snell, I've caught Morton, I've caught all those guys in some sides during spring training, and those guys throw hard, but they're easy to catch. Just because they're beautiful how they spot up and how they execute. So
yeah, it's insane. You have to have a really quick twitch behind the dish.
Yeah, well, you're just anticipating. Catching is all about anticipation,
Yeah.
just like hitting, and you're anticipating to a certain spot. So, and in big league, and higher level guys, not just big leaguers. Double A guys, like guys that are older, guys who have figured out their bodies, guys who have figured out how to make adjustments. Those guys can work with you a little bit better. It's tough when you got those young 18-year-olds who have a live arm who just don't know what they're doing yet. So that can be a challenge because their velocity is so 98 up here versus 98 down here is a lot different. So
yeah. So there are plenty of rumors about when the season will start. How do you think the MLB and MILB should handle this COVID-19 situation?
Yeah, so I honestly see no reason why we shouldn't play because we're all young, healthy guys. I think if we, put in some stipulations and make sure we're just being smart and checking up on stuff, I see no reason why we shouldn't be playing in a month or two. I don't know if the minor leagues will happen. I think we'll probably have an extended camp at the end of summer or something like that. MLB maybe, but I heard they were kind of come up with something at the end of the week, but I just really don't know, man. So
yeah,
I personally I'm cool playing. I want to play. A lot of other minor league guys want to play. I know the Players Association has been negotiating with MLB, and I'm not involved, but so that's my take on it. There's no reason we shouldn't play.
Would you not mind if there are no fans?
I wouldn't love playing in front of fans. It's not ideal because it really brings another dynamic to the game. And I don't want to sound like, a diva saying, oh, we need fans, but that would be preferred. But as a minor league player, and a guy just trying to log at bats, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah. So you've been at multiple levels of minor league baseball. Have you noticed a huge difference in skill set and pitching ability when transitioning from level to level?
Not really. It's more just the ability to be consistent. Um, when you're around younger guys, and I've had some injuries here and there, so I've had a little bit of an inconsistent run, but it's it's all about adjustments and consistency. I mean, the difference between high A and the MLB is really not very big as far as the skill sets. It's more just the ability to be the same player every day, and that's what makes baseball tough. So your standard deviation of misses and your bad games and your good games, like limiting the bad games, is just really about over the long haul. That's what makes it challenging. So skill-wise, not really a big difference.
Right. So you mentioned your injuries a little bit. You had a minor knee injury in college.
Yeah.
How is that whole situation, both mentally and physically?
Well, that was a tough year because junior year was my draft year, and I was leading the country in hitting. I mean, that's was my claim to fame coming out.
Yeah.
The draft, and I was hitting 500 and having this dream year, and to get hurt, I'd never been hurt before. It was devastating, but I didn't need surgery, so maybe in many ways that was a saving grace. But I'm still frustrated about it because I think back to that year, and I just want to finish it. But obviously I had a back injury in 2019, which was another big season for me. It was my first full season, so frustrating to lose some of that. But I mean, they both could have been worse, so maybe I'm thankful. But I'm happy with that. I was able to come back and perform coming out of both of those because it's hard for a lot of guys.
Right. So you went from a sub 200 batting average in the 2017 season to a 287 batting average in 2018. In the 2018 season, that was obviously a huge jump. What difference did you make in the off season?
Well, I mean, 2017 was my draft year, so I had been injured in April during college. The draft was in June.
Yeah.
And then you go play rookie ball after the draft. So I hadn't played. I hadn't played at all after my injury. When I started playing, after I got hurt in college, I didn't see the field till pro ball. So obviously the adjustment to like pro ball and the heat and the schedule, and we had like 6 catchers on our GCL roster. There wasn't a lot of at bats to go around, so it was just like kind of a bad storm of like just having not played. I mean, I was out for like 4 months, so that's what I would attribute it to. And then that next year, having a full off season, making adjustments, coming back in 2018, which was an all-star, which is the Penn League, and made the all-star team, got on the map that year. I was just able to like be healthy and do what I do. I mean, I did struggle to the pull side in 2018, had to kind of make some adjustments to that in 2019, but I was just able to get back to full strength. That was the big thing, and confidence too. I just wasn't confident when I got out of the draft and stepping on a pro field and just being unsure about what I was doing. So that kind of led to, I think I had like 70, 75 at bats that season. I mean, we got 75 games, so
yeah,
I really wasn't doing a lot,
Yeah.
I was kind of, they limited me. I didn't really get to do much out of the gate, so it kind of just slowed the whole thing down.
Right, that's definitely understandable. You mentioned you made the All-Star team. What was that whole experience like?
Well, after, really sucking in 2017 and like not really being able to like do much, and waiting that whole off season with a .188 batting average to my name, which is just like tough to wear. Like, to come back and then put a really good season together and like show that I can play and that I deserve to be there was really rewarding for sure. Like, I was probably the most satisfying year I've had in my baseball career.
Right, I saw you swinging a bit on your Instagram on your Instagram story. How does your swing feel right now?
I've never felt better, man. I've leaned out. I've lost some weight. I'm just more dynamic in my forward move. There's so many good things going on now that I wish I had in 2018, honestly. I mean, I was getting away with some stuff, but just changed how I trained. I'm doing a lot more yoga. It's a lot more explosive, and I'm much more lean, and I'm delivering the barrel with a lot more speed. So, I mean, I'm really excited. It was a big year for me, and I'm just bummed that I'm not out there. But, it's a good time to build,
Yeah. You were with a host family when you were with Hudson Valley, correct?
Yeah.
What was that whole experience like?
I mean, so I've stayed with a couple host families. In 2018, I actually was lucky to stay with a family friend who was just went to high school with my uncle, and she happened to be right where that team is. So kind of just a lucky connection, and that was a super fun experience. I still talk to them, and like they're kind of like family friends in a way. So
yeah,
worked out really well.
Okay. And to wrap it up, you were drafted by the Rays in the 13th round. What was that like hearing your name called, and how did you initially find out?
Yeah, so I watched the draft pretty much pick one to when I got picked, like because I was hearing I'd go in the top 10 rounds, which was on day 2 because of just I had good workouts and obviously I had that really good college year, and the
Yeah,
injury kind of like made things murky. I got a lot of calls on day 2, and then like it kind of strung out all the way to the end, and then I had to wait till that next day, and so it was. But I mean, when it happened, dude, it was unbelievable. Like thought I was kind of just like shook, I just had my friend there, my best friend, and it was my family and stuff. Wasn't a lot of people or anything. I was just very just shook, and to like put on the hat the first time and just be like,
yeah,
man, I used to wear these hats when I was your age, and to just say that I played for that team, it's like unbelievable. And as a baseball player yourself, I'm sure it's hard to describe. I mean, you just dream about it every day, think about it, man, I'm gonna get drafted, and then it's just very just like eerie almost, like
yeah,
in a good way,
yeah.
But,
Were those few days tough mentally because you were
yeah,
expected to go in the top 10 rounds, and then you didn't hear your name called that day, so you had to wait for the next day? How was that
yeah,
meant?
it was tough, dude. I mean, I was pretty upset that I didn't go day 2 because I felt like, man, I had a great career. I dominated summer ball. I like performed, and I had one late injury, and that's gonna and obviously there's money involved too in the draft. So like then you start to realize like, God, what you might have lost, and when you think about it from that perspective, it's hard not to get upset. But I mean, if you told me when I was 10 years old I'd be a 13th round pick, I would have cut off my leg, to do
Yeah,
this. So that's kind of how I try to think about it now. But
right. Yeah, so that wraps up all my questions, Eric. Thank you for joining. Thank you for taking the time out of your day during this isolation period. I wish you all the best in the rest of your career and stay safe and healthy.
I appreciate it, man. Keep doing your thing.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah.